Welcome to the Rock the Stage Show. Each week, international media expert Rich Bontrager has in-depth and personal conversations with celebrities, top leaders, authors, speakers, and media professionals. Now, from the Rock the Stage studios, here's your host, the Trigger, Rich Bontrager.
Welcome back to the Rock the Stage Show. It's another great day to be back with you once again, and we got a returning guest here today. It's always fun to have him in the house. We'll get into that in just a minute. But before we get rolling here today, we live in uncertain times, don't we? We live in very uncertain times. You know, both work and life is very, very hard sometimes. We don't know which direction to go. The market's shifting. Careers are stalling out. Confidence is wavering throughout the nation. And for many leaders, it feels like the lights have gone out. Things are tough right now for many people. But it certainly doesn't have to mean retreat. In fact, it can be the new doorway to great new comebacks, new opportunities, and even a catalyst to grow wealth, clarity, and confidence once again. In this episode today, we're going to break down how the elite leaders respond when pressure rises, options narrow down, and everything else is on the line. Discover how mindset, principles, and practical moves are going to separate those who survive and thrive in these uncertain times here today. And again, we do have a returning guest. I'm happy to have Dr. Willie Jolley back again. He's a world-class, award-winning speaker, singer, best-selling author, and media personality. He was named one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world by Toastmasters International, and he's been inducted in the prestigious Speaker Hall of Fame by the National Speakers Association, where we first met. Dr. Willie is the #1 author of the Turning Setbacks into Comebacks, and he has a new book as well, which we'll spotlight here today. Let me welcome back once again Dr. Willie Jolley to Rock the Stage Show.
It's a privilege and a pleasure to be on with you one more time, Rich, and to all your audience and all your listeners, viewers, and all the people around the world who you reach. I am grateful to be here. And as I start every interview, as I start my Sirius XM show every week, I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. Forced upon me, can't refuse it. I didn't seek it. I didn't choose it, but it's up to me to use it. I must suffer if I lose it, give account if I abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but our eternities are wrapped up in it. So I'm grateful for this minute, this moment, this opportunity to share some ideas to help people to make this their best year yet, to help them to grow and go to the next level. So thank you for having me.
Well, it's great to have it again. We got more than a minute. We got about 40 minutes, so we're going to make it all count here today with you again. But you and I both live in Washington, D.C. We live in one of the most highest, stressful, crazy, chaotic places of uncertainty you could ever imagine.
And that's the truth.
It's a daily yo-yo event. But also we've had great men and women thrive, crash, burn, and come back again.
Yes.
There is a way to navigate all this, but I'm interested in writing down for a brief moment as we start, what's your pulse on leadership in our country right now today? As we face lack of confidence, uncertainty, success, or weakness, what are you seeing? What are you hearing when they're ready to come back out or maybe not ready to come back out?
Well, I believe that leadership is a decision. It's not a birthright. It's a decision. And many people say that someone's a born leader. Well, occasionally you might find somebody, but most leaders are made. I believe when a baby's born, the doctor slapped the baby on the behind. He doesn't say, oh, put this one over in the leadership group. He says this baby has potential. And if this baby is willing to do the work, to develop itself, to grow its thinking, and to push hard and strong against the obstacles and never give up, this baby can do have an incredible life and do incredible things with his life. That is why I want to encourage people that this is a very challenging time.
Yes.
This is a very difficult time. It's a time of uncertainty. But you've got to make a choice, and you've got to have a positive outlook, uplook, and inlook. And so I'm encouraging everybody to think not just about today, but to think about the possibilities for tomorrow. In my office, Rich, I have 12 eagles.
Yep.
Some of them are statues, placards, pictures, but I got 12 eagles, one for every month of the year.
Mhm.
And the 12 eagles are here to remind me that I must come in this office or in this place every day with a mindset to be an eagle and not an ostrich. Now, here's the difference. In tough times, in the times of challenge and change and crisis,
Mhm.
the ostrich in the storms of life sticks its head in the ground and says, "Wake me when it's over."
Yes.
All right. But the eagle in those same times does something very odd. It takes flight and
Mhm.
flies right in the face of the storm. It struggles through the storm. It scratches through the storm. It persists through the storm till it's able to get above the storm and then see the panoramic view of the environment. And it says, "Oh, I see now right there, right at this point, there's a big crisis. There's a big problem. Oh, but I can see down the road. And there's good down the road. It's good down the road. You just got to keep going to get to the good, to get past this bad pot and this bad spot." So I'm encouraging everybody to have a mindset that, yeah, we're in crisis times, we're in uncertain times, we're in challenging times, but there's good down the road. Just keep going.
So let's build on that for a second because it is about mindset. You've worked with some of the best people in the world, top tier leaders. The list is exhausting, but they're great.
Yes.
When the light first starts to go out for those elite leaders, when they feel it and they know it, what's the critical decision point that determines whether they will rise or whether they are going to bury their head? What do you think that is from your many experiences? What's the defining moment?
Well, again, it goes back to mindset. And they have to make a decision. Is this a setback or challenge? And I like to use setback because, I wrote the book, A Setback is a Set Up for a Comeback. Is this a setback, period?
Mhm.
Or is this a setback, comma? Now, let me flesh that out. When you were in elementary school,
Yeah.
your teachers or your teacher taught you that there were two punctuation marks you needed to know to be able to effectively read and write: a period and a comma. Now, a period meant end of the sentence, no more to be said. See, spot, run, period. End of the sentence. But a comma meant pause,
Mhm.
transition. There's more to come. So when you have a setback in your life, you have to ask yourself or make the decision: is this going to be a setback, period, or a setback, comma? Is this the end of the story or just a pause, a transitionary point? I encourage you to be an effective leader, must see this as a setback, comma. This is not the end of the story.
Right.
But many people will see their setback as an end. It's overwhelming. It takes their breath away. Well, it's uncomfortable. It's difficult. It's sometimes very painful. Sometimes we go through what I call the devastating D's of life. We might go through a downsizing. We
Mhm.
might go through a divorce. We might go through a disappointment. We might go through a disaster. We might go through a diagnosis. We might go through the death of a loved one. But in that moment, you must decide that you are going to see this as a setback, period, or a setback, comma. And my friend Les Brown, I love something he says. He says, in life, you don't have a problem to deal with, you have a decision to make. So we must make the decision.
So let's talk about making that decision
Yeah.
because you also talk about this can be a gateway.
Yes.
And your new book does touch on some of this as well. Your new book coming out.
Rich is good, wealthy is
Yeah.
better. But most people know me from my book, A Setback Setup for Comeback. It's
Right.
a global bestseller. And it just tells my story. The first two pages of my story tell my story, which is I was a nightclub singer, singing in nightclubs in Washington, D.C., number one jazz singer, best performer, won all the awards. Went in the nightclub one night and the club owner said, "We want to talk after the night show. I got some news we want to talk about." I'm excited because I'm saying the news is they're going to give me a raise. We, We've been selling out for 6 months. We got standing room only audiences. We've been rolling. So I called my band together and said, they want to talk. We're going to get a raise tonight. I go in his office that night after the show. He said, you were great. I said, thank you. People loved you. I said, thank you. We made a lot of money since you've been here. I said, yes. He said, why? Which is why it's hard for me to tell you that we made a change. We bought a new thing called a karaoke machine. A
Mm-hmm.
what? A karaoke machine. And it's a one-time cost, but we can use it for the rest of the year. And we're going to give that a shot because it's a better return on investment. I said, but what about my bills? And I learned that night, nobody cares about your bills, but you and the people you owe. I was devastated. But a friend gave me a motivational book called Think and Grow Rich. I'd never read a book ever from cover to cover. And I read this book, and there's a premise in the book that wherever there's an adversity, at that same spot, at that same point, there is this seed for great opportunity. Well, I took a job with the Washington, D.C. public school system while I was trying to figure out what I was going to do. And the school system job was for me to talk to little kids about staying away from drugs.
Mm-hmm.
During that year, I started talking to more and more kids. And then the teachers would say, oh, that was good. Can you come and speak for our group? Someone there would say, can you come to speak for my church? Someone there would say, can you come to speak for my company? And then Les Brown heard about this guy who was a speaker who also sang at the end of his presentations. And he was launching a tour called the Music and Motivation Dream Team Tour and needed an opening act who could both speak and sing. He offered me the opportunity. I went on tour with him, and it all happened because I made a decision to not let this setback be the end of my story,
Right.
but to not see it as a period, but as a comma. And that's what I'm encouraging everybody who's looking at this, listening to this today, that you might be going through one of those devastating Ds, but
Mm-hmm.
it's time for you now to make a decision that a setback is nothing but a setup for a comeback, that you're going to decide that I'm going to win. I don't know how, but I'm going to win. And it's about a mindset. I choose to win. I choose to overcome. I choose to not stop. I choose to persist. And when you do that, stuff happens. Good stuff happens.
So I'm curious, your new book, here it is popping up right now, everybody. Rich is good, wealthy is better. One of the biggest devastations is financial disaster for our leaders in these
Right.
uncertain times.
Yeah.
So help us out here because that's a big pressure, big emotional thing. When we start losing money, we're trying to lead, but we don't know how to get through it. But is it really about riches or wealth, or what are you talking about here?
Well, let me say that the book has been in the process of being written for 20 years. It's taken me 20 years to be able to write this book. See, for 20 years, I've interviewed some of the greatest wealth creators of this day.
Yes.
Bill Marriott, David Rubenstein, Mark Randolph, co-founder of Netflix, Bob Johnson,
Yes.
founder of BET, Sheila Johnson, Damon John, Shark Tank, and one after another. And in those 20 years, I thought, or half of those 20 years, I thought I knew what wealth was. But some years ago, the light bulb went off above my head, that proverbial light bulb. I said, oh my gosh, I didn't realize the big difference between being rich and wealthy. Profound difference. I said, well, maybe I'm the only one who doesn't know it. Maybe I'm the outlier. So what I did was I started going around the country speaking for these corporate groups and all these churches and conventions. I would ask people, what in your mind is rich? And one answer came out over and over again.
Yep.
$1 million. You got $1 million. That's number one answer. Then you're rich. Okay, well, $1 million is rich. Then what's wealthy to you? And they'll look up in the air. They'll ponder. They'll think. They'll say, maybe 5 million, 10 million, $1 billion. And I realized they didn't know either. And so I went back to these billionaires I'd interviewed over the years, and I'd call them and say, I've got this theory. And here's my theory. And I tell them my theory, and they say, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That's it. The difference between being rich and wealthy. You figured it out. That's it. And so there's a difference between rich and wealthy, and it's not the size of the money. It's not, let me say it again, it's not the size of the money. I was in Cleveland, Rich, and I was speaking, and I was at a fancy restaurant. My client took me to this nice restaurant.
Mhm.
And while we were there, one of the star players from the Cleveland Browns football team was walking by with his entourage. And my client said, "Hey, hey, hey, come over. You got to meet Dr. Willie Jolley." So the young man and his group of people came over and he said, "This is Dr. Willie Jolley. He teaches people how to grow and become wealthy." And the young man with his fur coat and his jewelry around his neck said, "I'm already wealthy, but I guess I can learn how to be a little more wealthy. I could get more wealthy." And we chatted for a moment. I gave him my business card and he left. And I said to my client, "You know what? That young man, he actually thinks he's wealthy, but
Right?
he's rich. The owner is wealthy." See, that young man ran up and down the field, caught passes, ran the ball, went through spring training. And on the Sundays, he comes and plays. He leaves. He's been hit by opposing players, and he leaves with $1 million contract.
Right.
While the owner never left his box. He didn't run up and down the field. He didn't sweat. He had his favorite beverage, ate his favorite food, and when the game ended, he left with $1 billion profit. Now, when that young man is no longer productive or he gets hurt, his playing days will be done with that team.
Right.
But that owner will replace that young man with a new player, and he'll still own the team, and he'll make his money while that player or those players are on the field, and he won't do anything but sip his favorite beverage and eat his favorite food. That's why rich is good, wealthy is better. I applaud that young man for getting to the NFL. He's rich, but wealthy so much better. And
So
that's what I want to
so
teach people to do.
let's break down the wealth side, because I think that's part of where the uncertainty is. As the fear of the terminal time comes, we don't realize how wealthy, and I'm going to put that in parentheses because I think spiritually, emotionally, family, career, life, there's a lot of wealth in that. I think we're stuck on dollar signs. Would you agree?
Well,
Wealth is more?
yeah, in the book, I talk about the 5 types of wealth, and I want people to write these down because they are profoundly different. Number one is the financial wealth. We all know that. That's the one that most people talk
Yes.
about, and that's the first one that comes to your mind. But the most important of all the wealths, there are 5 of them, is your health. Your health is your wealth.
Yes.
And if you don't have your health, what good is all the money? It's been said that Steve Jobs, on his deathbed, said, "I would give all the billions away
Mhm.
for more time."
Yes.
And I love this quote by Les Brown. He says, "The person who is sick has one dream, while the person who is well has 1,000 dreams." Number 3 is relationship wealth.
Yep.
It's not just where you're going, but who's going with you.
Mm-hmm.
And as my doctor who's 77 years old, still practicing medicine, loves what he does, he has a sign in his office that says, "Who's going to be with you at the end?" That's where your wealth is. So relationship wealth. So financial
Yep.
is health, relationship, then reputational wealth.
Yep.
We call it a brand these days, but everybody's got a brand. What do people say about you when you're not around? What do they say you do well that they will want to be around you or do business with you or buy your products and service? So you got to build your reputational wealth because it paves a path for you before you get there. And finally is intellectual capital wealth. What do you know? And what are people willing to pay you because of it? Or
Mhm.
as I like to say, you got to use what you know to make more dough. Ooh, that's good. And, and that's why I say you got to have those 5.
And it will help them get through these uncertain times, I believe. If they have
Oh,
that in their back pocket, in their mindset, it's going to help them know, okay, this is crazy, but I'm okay.
I'm going to make it through. Now, one more thing. Through these challenging times, I talk about is the 8 streams of income, the 8 types of streams. And I won't go through all of them, but I'll give you a couple. Because, see, we live in DC, and we're seeing in DC over 300,000 people who were cut
Yeah.
as a result of Doge. They lost their job.
Yes.
And many of them had one stream of income, that
Mhm.
job. That was a good job. They were paying 6 figures.
Yes.
But when that job ended, They had no other revenue source. Everybody should have at least two revenue sources, two
Mhm.
streams. Now, it can be your earned income, your job. It can be your dividend income, stocks and bonds. It can be your real estate income, something you owe. It can be rental income, something you own that you rent. It can be retail income. You create a product. I recently heard about a guy who her mama had taught him how to make cheesecakes, and he made cheesecakes on the weekend. Well, when he lost his job, he just went full time into making these cheesecakes that his mama had taught him, and it became so profitable because he always had that second form of income. I talked to a lady who I was on the interview today. She has a very good corporate job, but on the weekend she does people's hair. She has a skill. Having more than one stream of income is critically important, and the best ones are residual.
Well, that's about diversifying. So when it does crash, maybe one shrivels up, slows down, you have other things to lean on. And if you're not diversifying in our world today, and if you're standing on one leg, it's really hard to make it on one leg.
There's an old saying that I like, says it's a poor mouse who only has one hole. When the cat come, if you ain't got two holes, you gonna be dead. So you gotta have two holes. The mouse that got two holes can go for that one or that one. He got different ways and to escape the ongoing cat. Okay.
Now, also when it comes to this uncertain times, a lot of people are banking on the momentum. Things are
Oh, yeah.
going great. They're going great. They're rolling. I've got the next 5 years planned for me. Something like COVID hits.
Right.
There's no plan for that.
Right.
So let's dispel that confidence, security, that wealth of maybe you don't have that big plan anymore, but how do you do it when momentum's not the thing to hang on anymore?
Someone said you either got a problem, you just left a problem, or you're on your way to a problem.
Probably.
That's called life. Okay. So I'm hoping for great things in front of me, and
Right.
I'm hoping for everything to go hunky dory. I'm hoping for no setbacks, but there's three legs to wealth.
Hmm.
The stool has three legs. One leg is income. You got to have income, and the more income, the better, obviously. But then you got to live below that income threshold and have some margin, what they call margin, which is the difference between what you make and what you spend. You want to spend less than you make, so you have margin. Then you do the second leg, which is invest that margin into an investment. And then you got the third leg, which is insurance. You must have insurance. So what you just said about the fact that stuff happens, you might have a car accident. You need to have car insurance. You
Yes.
might get sick. You might need to have health insurance, disability insurance, long-term care insurance. Your house. I've had two very good friends whose homes have burned down in the last year. Two good friends, but they had fire insurance
Yes.
and they're going to be replaced. You need to have insurance to cover the asset that you have over here that you're building. So you don't have to attack the asset to deal with the crisis.
Now, there's another area I think leaders are caught in right now. We are trying to predict the future.
Hmm.
Entrepreneurs are gamblers by nature.
Hmm.
But you often talk about because I love watching your videos. I love watching your TikToks and everything. But you're a principle man. Learn the principle. Learn the principle. You're not about predictions.
Right.
You are about principles.
Yep.
How much of foundational principles are we missing today to navigate through this chaos?
Principle. Let me tell you what he means by that, folks, because this is very profound. Thank you for asking that question. Very good question. A principle is something that will happen every time, every time. So if you throw a brick up in the air, it's going to come down every time. Not once, not twice, every time, because of a principle called gravity. And so gravity works every single time. The principles I teach in my books, they work over and over again. And a setback set up for a comeback. I've had, now the book has sold millions of copies. I've had I can't even continue to count the number of people who said, I did what you said in the book. I followed the principles. Vision, get a vision, make tough decisions, take action, have great desire. And it worked. It worked. And one of the things I tell people, if money can fix it, it's not really a problem. It's just a challenge. It's just a challenge. You need more money. But when you get a diagnosis, you need to be prayerful. I had a guy who was an atheist, who was a friend of mine. He got cancer. He said he started praying because he learned about. He said, "You something about you in this prayer thing, Willie. I'm going to follow." And he survived a lot longer.
So I want to lean into a little bit about some leaders are very strong, boastful. They're out there, even in the worst crisis. They're going to be loud and in your face.
Hmm.
Some leaders retreat, and retreat is not a bad thing. Retreat is to regroup.
Regroup. Right.
Right.
Mhm.
So some are quiet, trying to figure this out.
Yes.
I think we need to have more quietness in these crises and less talking heads.
Well, being bombastic. There's one
Yeah.
thing. There's one thing to be um a very enthusiastic, maybe talk a lot of, but don't be bombastic, because being bombastic, big dogmatic. For those who don't know, I do have a doctorate degree and I went to school. I learned these big words, but it basically means being boastful
Yes.
and being arrogant. In the book, Rich is Good, Wealthy is Better, I say many people are arrogant and they really shouldn't be. Okay,
Right.
they shouldn't be. There's a Persian proverb that says, "He who knows not and knows not that he knows not, but thinks that he knows, is a fool. Leave him alone." Now, he who knows not and knows that he knows not is a child. Teach him. Now, he who knows but knows not that he knows is asleep. Wake him. Oh, but he who knows, or she who knows and uses what they know, is a leader. Follow them. There's a leader on the inside of each and every one of you. But that first one, he who knows not that he knows not, but thinks he knows, is what we call arrogant ignorance.
Yes.
Now, arrogant is one thing, and ignorance is one thing. But arrogant and ignorance together can be fatal. See, the person who knows everything, no one can tell him anything.
Mhm.
But the person who is teachable, no one can stop them from achieving anything because they want to learn. They got leaders, they got mentors. Everybody should have a mentor. Everybody should have a mentor. Who do you call for advice? Who do you call for? Scripture teaches us there's safety in a multitude of counselors. So you get some advice from some wise counselors. Okay. So I am so excited about the fact that I get to be mentored by some great mentors over the years. I've been mentored. I've been Zig Ziglar, mentor. Brian Tracy, mentor. Les Brown, mentor. W. Mitchell, mentor. People who have mentored me, who have taught me, who have grown me and poured into me. I believe that. And one more thing, a mentor does not have to be somebody you actually know. There's a gentleman named Dr. Benjamin Elijah Mays, who was Martin Luther King Jr.'s mentor. I never met Dr. Mays, but I've read all his works.
Exactly.
I've read his books, and he has spoken to me through those books.
So another thing I think you're highlighting about wealth as we talk about it is the wealth of those mentors,
Yes,
those leaders. Well, we know them formally or informally. I've got several that I've never met.
yes,
That I have consumed and learned at their feet through their books and other things.
yes,
That wealth of information gets us outside of the uncertainty sometimes too. We need people outside of our circle
yep.
to navigate the craziness we're in. And I think people are afraid to reach out, break the
Yeah.
glass, and admit, I need you now.
People are afraid to say, I don't have all the answers.
Yes.
And look, I'm telling you folks, I've got a lot of ignorance I've got to get rid of. I'm constantly trying to get rid of ignorance. That's why I sit among wise people. If you walk with the wise and talk with the wise, you will become wiser. So I make a point to walk and talk with the wise, to learn from them, to listen and glean from them. And I've done that over the years. When I was in graduate school, my professor said, he said, Willie, I wasn't Dr. Willie then, he was just Willie. He said, I like the fact that you are willing to keep putting one toe in the water, toe at a time, to learn more, to glean more. You keep asking questions. And so, folks, I would encourage you, get good resources, get good books, good people. I encourage you to listen to this podcast or this program with Rich every week. Follow him, tag him, subscribe to him. Make sure you know what he's got coming, because he's putting on principle-based programs to help you grow. I'm also encouraging everybody to go to winwithwillie.com for some of the free resources we have. Winwithwillie.com, free resources. That's my main website. And just get some of the free resources that we'll do. Sign up for my newsletter every day, Monday through Friday. I send out a 1-minute message to encourage and inspire people and empower them. And then on Saturdays, I send out my newsletter about the guest I'm having on my XM show. Again, XM channel 141. It airs at Saturday at 4 o'clock. And I have some of the greatest wealth creators of all time. And then go to those sites. Then finally, go to Rich is Good, wealthyisbetter.com. Get my new book. This book is so profound. I am so impressed with the people who blessed me to let me interview them for this information. And I got one of the greatest compliments ever recently. I've been on interview after interview after interview. And two of the interviewers have said the same thing, said, I've read the book.
Mm-hmm.
And this book to me is the sequel to Think and Grow Rich.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's not too bad of a recommendation there, man.
A sequel to let me tell you why they said it. They said in 1937, Think and Grow Rich came out.
Mm-hmm.
And Napoleon Hill had interviewed the titans of business of his day: Henry Ford, Andrew Carnegie, Edison, Firestone, Wanamaker, DuPont. And he took all that information, put it together, wrote Think and Grow Rich, released it in 1937, and it's made more millionaires than any other book other than the Bible. Well, for 20 years, I've interviewed the titans of business of this time: Bill Marriott, General Colin Powell, Dave Stewart, David Rubenstein, Kathy Hughes, Bob Johnson, Sheila Johnson, Damon John Hope Bryant, one millionaire, billionaire after another. And I put all that together into a book that, if you read it, it could literally change not just your life, not just your children's life, but your children's grandchildren's lives.
So make sure you go back, scan those QR codes,
Yep.
and get a hold of the book. I do want to wind down with one more question with you.
Sure.
This has been gold. This has been wonderful. It's always great being along with you. But with this uncertain time and the money and the chasing and the big puffing, everything going on, if you could remove one widely taught success habit, quote unquote success habit, that actually sabotages you and drives you further into uncertainty, what would be that one habit that we're hearing about that's actually destroying people today?
Yeah, that is a great question. And my answer to this is that if there's one habit that people are using that is hurting them, it is the habit of not taking some time for your family.
Bingo.
I'm busy. But not taking time for your family. Because at the end of the day, that's the most important resource you got, your family. I've got on my XM show coming up an interview with a gentleman who just wrote a book called Stroke of Success. I highly recommend people go check it out. This was a high-end. Have you had him on yet?
No, but I know the book and I know what you're talking about.
and it's an amazing story.
Yes.
Somebody sent one of NSA, National Speakers Association, where I'm a part of, sent me his information.
Yes.
He was a high-end corporate exec, crisscrossing the globe.
Yes.
He was gone. He did in a year, he did 18 countries. He was gone. He home on a day or two and then gone. And he was pushing it. He said, he was kind of bragging about, I only got 4 hours sleep last night. I'm working, I'm rolling, I'm doing it. And that was his success principle, his habit. Push, push, push. I've got it going on. I'm pushing, I'm grinding. One day he was in a different city. He wasn't feeling well at dinner. He said, I need to get some sleep. He had a stroke that night. And then when he woke up in the morning, he was paralyzed on one side.
Yep.
And it hadn't been for his wife calling him and having his coworker, she had his coworker's number. They came, knocked down the door, got in, got him to the hospital, and then medevaced him to a hospital in his home city where they had specialists. He'd be dead.
Yes.
And it took him 2 years to learn to walk again, learn to talk again. And now he has this book, Stroke of Success, that tells people how important it is to take care of your health and then take care of your family. Because he said when he was recuperating in that ICU unit, his wife and his children never left his side. They took turns taking care of him. And that what brought him back. His faith, he said, his family and his friends. Folks, thank you for that. Was a great question. Man, that was a great question.
I try to land the plane well with Dr. Willie. I try to make it fun.
You did a good job. I want to thank you for having me. I want to thank you for what you do to get the word out to people about thinking bigger, doing bigger, staying positive, being faithful, be focused, be fun. You got to have all of those, but being faithful and focused and really make a commitment to continue to make an impact.
Great to have you back, Dr. Willie. Always a pleasure, and stay safe. We got a lot of snow and ice, and it's ugly in DC, so be safe. Thanks for being on.
Stay safe and healthy, my brother. God bless you. Be well.
Dr. Willie, once again with us again. Awesome to blend the world of the uncertainty with a wealth mindset, but it's not money. It's not all about money and riches. And that new book, you want to make sure you get it. Check that out. Learn more about what he's talking about. Like he said, they give away free chapters of the book. But also, as you are kicking off 2026, how are you doing with that uncertainty? Are you retreating right now? And I'm not talking about retreating in a healthy way. Are you retreating, reversing, shutting down, and not wanting to come back out once again? Because I think Dr. Will and I would both agree. We want you to come back out again. We want you to make a comeback. Take some of the concepts you learned here tonight and rock the stage, apply them to yourself, and thrive in 2026. Come on back next week. We'll do it again with another amazing guest, highly unscripted, great in-depth conversations from some of the best minds of the world on Rock the Stage Show. We'll see you here again. Remember, we're now premiering new shows on Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, so don't miss any of the new upcoming shows of Rock the Stage Show.